Close your eyes and travel back in time with me. The sun has barely begun to glow over ancient Rome. Shadows ripple across paved, uneven streets. A soft wind teases the edges of marble columns. In the distance, a rooster crows. First call of the morning. You step out from your quiet home. The air carries the scent of dew and earth. Each footstep echoes on well-worn stones. You are alone with the city, almost. Soon, you will join a gentle crowd, drawn by warmth and ritual. This place you're headed to feels alive at dawn. Steam drifts from its doors, curling like smoke. Marble floors gleam under early light, and inside, water will soothe bodies and renew minds. We're going to walk through this sacred space, a place where emperors and farmers came to be cleansed and to be seen. Slowly, imagine pushing open the heavy wooden doors. A sigh of steam greets you. Warmth wraps around your skin like a soft blanket. Thousands of whispers swirl. Anticipation, relief, curiosity. Here you feel more than just heat. You feel a moment in history, alive, gentle, intangible. In Rome, the bathhouse was more than a place to wash. It was the town square, the gym, the library, even the marketplace. It was where business deals were made, where poetry was debated, where lovers met in shadowed corners. Every day, Romans of all classes, wealthy senators in flowing togas, slaves carrying oil jars, foreign merchants with bright cloaks, and curious children, stepped into these halls. They came to live, even if, for just a moment, imagine the distant clink of bronze vessels, the soft shuffle of sandals on wet marble, a muted murmur like wind over water. Now, close your eyes tighter. Allow your breathing to slow, because soon we'll walk deeper into rooms of warm mist and hushed conversation. You might be surprised at what you'll learn tonight. Inside these baths, there were hidden corners used for secret meetings, like the tale of two senators who exchanged whispers, secrets that would echo through history. There were medical rituals. Too, Roman physicians used these rooms to treat wounds, apply poultices, even perform minor surgery, all beneath layers of steam and social layers. And the rituals of cleansing aren't what you'd expect. No soap, no shampoo. Instead, Roman men and women slathered themselves in fragrant oils, then scraped the mixture off, along with dust, sweat, and worry. We'll explore the tools they used. Strigils of polished bronze, oil jars etched with names and symbols, perfumed waters carried in clay amphoras, and we'll feel the architecture. Vast vaulted ceilings, corrugated with heat, marble cooled by underground channels, small alcoves where graffiti whispered, "I love Valeria," or "This heat's too much." Even graffiti. Romans left their marks here. They wrote about the weather, the water, their love affairs. Later, we'll cross the boundary into the world of intrigue. One emperor used the bathhouse as a battlefield of whispers, power, and betrayal, until one night, those marble walls almost witnessed his fall. Stay with me. Toward the end of our visit, I'll tell you that story, a true story of ambition and caution, hidden beneath rising steam. But first, let us soak in the moment. Feel the gentle warmth of the tepidarium, As you pass in, sense the deeper heat of the caldarium, where the floor glows beneath your feet. Feel the sudden chill in the frigidarium, a plunge of clarity. We'll stand side by side with people of another age, listening, breathing, washing, and we'll come away, changed just a little. This video is more than a history lesson. It's a soft journey, a three-dimensional walk through time, a lullaby for the curious mind. Stay until the end, because we've saved the richest story, the one that ties love, politics, and danger together under one vaulted hall. For now, let all sound around you and inside you become calm. Welcome, dear friend, to your restless historian. Here, the past settles like the dust on marble, conversations echo like distant steps, and history whispers through stillness. If you love drifting through ancient worlds, if gentle, story-driven history sets your mind at ease, then press subscribe. Let a little magic of time visit you whenever you close your eyes. Let's step inside the Roman bathhouse together and begin our slow descent into warmth and wonder. A gentle breeze rolls over the stones as you walk, warm enough to beckon, but cool enough to steady each breath. You've been wandering through Rome's winding lanes, following a distant murmur, an echo of voices clinking bronze, running water. Up ahead, something monumental spreads into view, its massive silhouette etched against the pale morning sky. It's the bathhouse, a place that seems to breathe steam before you even set foot inside. Marble columns stand as guardians, their tops carved with vines, waves, and faces of gods who watched over this space for centuries. You slow your pace, drawn in by the low rumble, like soft thunder, of conversations from within. The doors before you are vast. They're fashioned from bronze, flush with carvings, bathers, nymphs, men lifting oil jars overhead. Time and touch have buffed them smooth, their edges darkened with history. As you press your palm to one, warmth seeps through. The metal is alive. It reminds you that people have entered this place exactly as you do now, for hundreds of years. Stepping inside, the sound changes. There's an echo now, the murmur bouncing off marble floors, polished by 1,000 dusty shoes. The world outside fades. There's a weightlessness to the air, a sense of belonging as you stand within these walls. The scent is rich, a tapestry of humidity, earth, and olive oil. The baths use oil like perfume. It clings to skin and marble alike. You breathe it in, alongside a whisper of lavender, and perhaps cedar-warmed amber. Steam rises in slender ribbons from hidden basins, curling toward high windows carved into stone. These windows hold pale light, like slices of sky, illuminating the ancient mosaics below. The center of the hall is open and vast. Domed ceilings stretch above and disappear into soft, rising curves. Between arches, statues of river gods and tritons hold jugs from which water eternally flows. Below them, pools rest like dark mirrors. Though inviting, they stay still, waiting for visitors. Around you, people take their places. A senator in opulent robes strides across the mosaic floor, sandals silent on the stone. At his side, A servant holds a container of oil. He pauses, spins a coin in his hand, and drops it into a bronze chest. No ticket required. A quiet ritual. A small toll to enter this warm embrace. A baker enters from the courtyard, white flour still under his fingernails. He's clad in wool fur in color, his tunic rougher than the senator's robe. Still, he too belongs here. A slave, hair bound in linen, ties his sandals and bows, delivering a folded linen toga to its owner. Even in that moment, social lines blur. Here, warm water and gentle architecture treat everyone equally. The bathhouse welcomes all. Men and women, separated only by time or different wings, file in steady flow. Children weave through them, playing tag in the shadows between the columns. Soldiers stop to laugh at some private joke before vanishing around a corner. Foreign travelers come in quiet awe, their eyes drawn upward. Architecture plays its own language here. Look up, and you see arches that cup the air like protective arms. Each step, each angle, gently guides toward the central chambers. No part feels random. This was planned with purpose. Here's how. First, a broad atrium opens to reveal the wide hall. Light filters down in shafts through clear-story windows. The cavities high overhead let the heat rise and settle, pulling moisture upward, leaving the floor damp but fresh. The floor itself is a marvel. Polished marble, hand-laid mosaics of fish and lotus blooms, tempered with stone heat to remain neither icy nor scorching. Between columns, you notice small alcoves, tiny nooks for quiet conversation, whispered business, deals, or stolen kisses. On one mosaic bench, a merchant negotiates with a stone carver over commissions. In another shadowed spot, two young men speak with lowered voices, speaking words that make you strain to hear. Every contraction of steam, every drip from above, seems to carry secret sound. The soundscape is soft but alive. Feet shuffle. Water sighs. A splash somewhere. Someone testing the pool. A preparatory dip. A testing toe. Each tiny note connects you back to this place's living pulse. Your gaze drifts along the wall to niches carved out and lit by small oil lamps. In one, a statue of Neptune holds a trident. In another, a woman with outstretched arms cradles grapes. For Bacchus, these gods watched over bathers, ensuring the water remained pure and spirits remained lifted. Beyond the entrance hall lies a change in texture. Where marble ends, opus signinum begins. Crushed brick mixed with lime, sloping slightly for drainage. It signals transition and invites your bare feet closer to rooms where sand-smooth towels and warm stone await. You cross the threshold of that threshold. Walls grow thicker. Light shifts amber. Shadows nestle into corners. Heat swells around your legs, creeping upward until your skin wakes to the sensation. Not sweat. Warmth. A precursor to something deeper, more transformative. To the left, you see a line of servants. Capsarii. They stand ready with baskets of towels, oil jars, and strigils. Their linen tunics are dyed faded blue. They carry silent efficiency. A hand touches yours briefly, redirecting or guiding. No fanfare, no ceremony, just purpose. On the right, The monumental plan of Roman engineering hums. Steaming flues and brick channels run beneath your feet. From these, hot air seeps up. This is the Hippocaust, a network of tunnels, furnaces burning wood to heat slabs of masonry. Ingenious, seemingly simple, yet they built this thousands of years ago, coaxing warmth up to marble and stone. Standing here, you feel the slow mastery of time. This building isn't new, it's ancient, but it remains alive because people still come, a continuous stream, unbroken by centuries. You hear the sudden clink of a jug at a low fountain. People keep their water tongues moist, not only for cleansing. Some come here to drink, to breathe, to feel again. Hydration, inside and out. Beyond the Hippocaust area, adjoining rooms await. But you linger just a moment here. This is the entrance, hall where all connections form. The place where anyone who walks through those doors becomes part of a tradition. You can follow campaigns fought far away. You can trace the rise of emperors. You can feel community. Even the poor feel rich. If, only for a while, they step in, trade the dust of labor for warmth. Their muscles relax. Their minds soften. In that act, something magical happens. A hush builds. Not from silence, but from acoustics. Conversations keep falling on the marble, diminishing, traveling, longer before they fade. It's a sanctuary of murmurs. You wander forward again. Each step brings new detail into focus. Polished bronze handles on chamber doors, small niches for oil vessels, levels of height, transitions between spaces, a choreography of architecture and experience. Today, it is men's turn, but memory holds space for women too, who took these same steps on other days, leaving echoes here in the marble. Children are not locked out. Their laughter weaves between conversations, unconsidered and free. Bathhouse times are rules unwritten. They move with seasons, longer visits in heat, shorter in cold. In summer, the caldarium stays open longer. The cold plunge deeper and colder. In winter, time shifts. People stay indoors in steamy calm. All of this unfolds as you cross into the next chamber, a place where armor is shed, water awaits. But for now, you remain in this threshold hall, the vestibule of transformation, a space where the air tastes like yesterday's breath and tomorrow's promise. The bathhouse begins here, not just where heating and stone meet, but where history, humanity, and humility come together. You sense it, a congregation held in masonry and steam. In the quiet, your heartbeat aligns with marble echo. A servant approaches you, hand extended toward a folding stool and a basket. You know what comes next. Clothing is removed, coins dropped, garments folded, oils awaiting. The ritual continues without stepping yet into the warm embrace. You honor this entrance hall. It belongs to everyone. The emperor, the slave, the young poet, the hardened soldier, the curious visitor from another land. It is more than architecture. It is a doorway to a shared human moment. And now, its doors still open wide, unchanged, but ever-changing. And with that, your invisible journey begins to deepen. You step off the warm floor of the entrance hall and cross into the change room chamber. The air is cooler here, less steam, more stillness. It feels personal, a threshold between public and private, between the bustling corridors and the intimate act of undressing. The stones beneath you change too. Smooth marble gives way to a mosaic of tiny tiles, cooler under your bare feet. Around you, men begin their transition. Tunics are untied and slipped over shoulders. Sandals are set aside. A few men cuff their bracelets to avoid dents or scratches. Each movement is deliberate, calm, ritualistic. You realize this is more than changing. It is shedding the world outside. A servant is at your side before you even know you're looking for help. A capsarius, a cloak bearer, a living garment rack. He waits patiently, ready. The lines on his long tunic are plain but clean, dyed a uniform gray-blue. He bows his head, and you understand. No worse necessary. He expects to be given your clothes. You hand over your tunic and undergarments. He receives them with careful hands, folding each piece with respect. Even the poorest man here receives this service. In a place of warmth and openness, dignity still has space. This is not just about control or wealth. It is courtesy, even grace. The capsarius organizes garments onto a wooden bench or racks behind him. Some hang embroidered tunics. Some hold simple tunics and coarse tunics alike. Everyone's garments wait here, identified by marks etched discreetly into cloth or stamped into wood. Look closer. These are not numbers. They are names, graffiti, or drawings. A bench labeled Marcus has an adjacent one called Spurious. Another shows a simple verse. In this place, we are equal. Some show badges, a small carved symbol to show the sequence of clothes placed, silent identifiers, honest if worn in public. Underneath, undergarments. Above, cloaks and large dinner knives, tucked safely into folds. Stillness surrounds you. The chatter is gentle. Men speak in soft tones. A pair exchange words about the city. Gate closing early tonight. Another about grain shipments across the Tiber. All men lean slightly toward each other, not for gossip, but to be heard in this quieter space. A small boy is here too, an errand for a merchant with an armful of scrolls. He shifts, finds a bench, sits and watches. He glances at names carved bronze style into the stone. Faustinus was here. Lucius. Almost like ancient graffiti. The boy smiles. Soon he'll write his own name in this timeless place. The capsari glide between the benches and columns. They know everyone by sight. They nod toward the senator in elaborate sandals. They wink when a young athlete removes arm wrappings. Their presence is careful, respectful, a silent service. They exist in two worlds. They know names and stories, but hold them quietly. You are now stripped of garb, shirt, tunic, belt, phases of identity set aside, skin cool against the air. Time seems to slow. Some men pause, brush shoulders. Others undo sandals, arrange items in hand. This is a slow transition from city to sanctuary. A hush blankets this chamber, but you can still hear. Some men are muttering prayers, some hymn phrases. A traveling scholar hums softly from Zephyrus. A soldier hums a marching tune. The hum balances with the hiss of water drifting in. Everyone prepares here. Soon, some will enter the pale warm gray, Jewish mosaic-lined corridor to reach the gym. Others will venture toward the steam corridors. Some men stand behind small stone basins, splashing mustaches, wetting hair, wiping sweat, a flicker of bronze, a glint of water on skin. Look up. Ceiling is low but arched, specially built to hold the warmth of bodies and the passage of faint steam. A small shaft in each vault holds a lamp. Oil lamps in bronze circles drip slowly. Light is amber and flickers faint shadows. These lamps rest in silent crescents above benches. Soft tendrils of steam drift through small open doors around you, the steam rising from specific cauldrons in the room beyond. Exhalations. Someone just broke off a small steam wave, then exhaled gently. The shifting voices start to layer. On one side, two tradesmen negotiate the price of tiles. Near the far alcove, a pair of friends speak softly. They talk of poetry. They quote lines from learned verses. They laugh softly at a silly pun. Sound reverberates, then shrinks. Men pause. Some look at the changing benches in deep thought or quiet delight. Others stand precisely next to benches set aside for them. Others shift toward the door that leads deeper in, to the tepidarium. The flow is subtle. Some display reverence, others relaxation, but all sense a transience. The mosaic floor under your feet is not uniform. It slopes slightly toward a channel. Water and oil run gently between tiles into the drains. You step carefully, aware of glinting drops. Your sandals hover, but most here remain barefoot. Letting glance be caught by the cold tile, skin tingles lightly. You scan the benches again. Many hold symbols. One bench has a fish carved in the tile, another a dolphin. Some runes mark names. It feels like the story of Rome. Everyone leaving a trace. Marks made not just to remember themselves, but to claim power, presence. Perhaps the first graffiti, in stone, above one bench, someone etched lines, only just visible. When yesterday is last, and heat is tomorrow. I write this in stone so I won't forget this moment. It feels poetic, timeless, a quiet testament of someone seeking presence in this neutral space. A group of men gather near a pillar, pointing and speaking about baths in Carthage or Alexandria. The talk lifts, an echo of grand halls and bathhouses in remote lands. They compare mosaic artistry or vaulted ceilings. Every bathhouse is a conversation between cultures. The pebble tiles beneath your feet are Roman, but inspired by lands beyond. You reach back to tell a Capsarius to hand you a jar of oil. He waits, then hands the vessel to you. Smooth clay, glazed and etched with geometric designs. A tiny nub on the jar keeps oil from dripping. You look at another bench. Oil jars of varied shapes, some Greek-shaped, some more compact. The jar is heavy in your palm, comforting. Nearby, men wait near a pile of towels, rough woven, white linen squares, dyed soft blue or gray. None are crisp. They're worn. Everyone sees a faint stain here, yet still they're clean. Accepted. No shame in being used. This place has a gentle practicality. Function over pretension. A servant moves forward, cloth bag in hand. He cleans handles and scrapers. He scrubs benches, shifts pots of warmed water, silent work. invisible labor. Without them, this space would lose its calm symmetry. They are the pulse behind the speed. They are effort made invisible, so others may relax in warmth. You watch them at the basin. They dip a cloth in water, squeeze droplets across marble. Work continues, though bathers arrive. It's a living space, alive with purpose. There's a softness to the air, growing. You take a breath. The slight scent of lavender returns. Softened earth tones of candles. Hues on the walls glow in amber. You absorb it. Inhale. Your body shifts, tension yielding. The scene around you feels orchestrated. Each person with intent. Each movement quiet. A current flowing toward deeper rooms. But none are rushing yet. The act of dressing, stripping down, has purpose but no hurry. You feel your heartbeat next to all these silent comparators, the wisdom of moving slow. These stones have seen calm, uneventful moments, but they've also seen conspiracies and whispers, but not here. Here, it's calm neutrality, transitioning, in the danger of conspiracy, of whispers. Here, there is none, only the soft rustle of linen, the rattle of sandals set aside, the glint of water in palm. You notice perspiration appearing, not discomfort, but awakening. Warmth from the next rooms is creeping. A friend of yours manages to whisper your name. You turn. He nods. He's just unbuckled his belt. His eyes are relaxed. He gestures out toward the corridor beyond. Both of you know the corridor beckons. There will be warmth, discomfort, delight in succession. But before that, this change room is the space before commitment. You adjust your chin, smooth your skin, meet the mosaic floor, notice fish. You recall mosaic's water symbolism. Everything here, polished marble, shell-like tile. It sets stage for water, for change. Your body recognizes that even before mind. The echo of laughter drifts in clusters, low but present. A poem, then laughter, a banter, another pair debates weather. Gentle conversation warms this place as well. You take a deep breath, not with close your eyes, not with demand. Simply a natural intake. 2 seconds. Your breath costs nothing. The air around tastes calm. The lights flicker easily. Stone is silent, but alive with history. As you gaze at names etched into stone benches, centuries old or months old, they all blur into one. Human. Humanity is the constant here. Not marble, not mosaic, not grandeur. People. Real people showing up. Naked, but for service or intent. The Kapsari gather tokens. Coins clink in bronze boxes. You hear them paying their way in, granting the right to this space. The Capsarius nods politely, hands heavier linen to another man. Everyone conducts politely. A child's laugh lifts briefly, ripples the calm. You near the edge of this change room, one bench away from entering the warm corridor. You sense the next shift. Steam will wrap you fully. Hot benches will beckon. But for now, the gorge is satisfying. The calm before warmth. The tiles tilt gently underfoot. Past the last bench, a threshold of water-splashed stone sits. A half door. A passage of steam. Beyond it, warmth waits. The Capsarius looks at you with steady eyes. No words, just watchful presence. Your clothes are folded in neat stack behind him. You know they'll be safe. You exhale a small breath. You carry nothing here but readiness. You step forward, toward the door, toward heat, toward whetstone, but not yet. Pause. Feel the moments here at the change room bench. Feel your feet. Feel your garment tags. Feel the quiet hum of conversation. One last breath. Then, you step through, stepping beyond the warm cloak of the changing room. You move into the pale lighted realm of the palaestra. The air shifts. Steam recedes, replaced by dry warmth and the scent of sand, sweat, and olive oil mingling on stone. You're now in a place meant for movement, for breath, for bodies meeting bodies momentarily. Around you, figures stretch and twist on smooth stone slabs, warmed underfoot. They rub oil from clay jars across their shoulders and arms, olive and cedar, perhaps a hint of bay. The oil darkens their skin, helps with grip, smooths motion. It glistens beneath the columns as they prepare. To one side, a pair of young men lock arms and lean in for wrestling, their muscles tensed, legs braced. You can almost hear their hearts pounding as they pivot and shift. Sand drifts beneath their feet, giving fragile traction. When one finally crashes to the floor, the other stands triumphant for a moment before helping his opponent rise again. It's competition, yes, but also respect. An unspoken agreement that strength here is shared, not hoarded. Nearby, a short man hefts a heavy stone ball, 2 hands wrapped around it. He lifts, drops, lifts again, stance squared, face calm. Another offers encouragement. Now, again, oil slips over muscles. Dust wafts as feet shuffle, hips shift. It's a symphony of effort and control. This was not just exercise. This was preparation. Some would step from here into the heat of the caldarium. Others might stay, sweat, cool, and repeat. Training for war, for athletics, for life itself. Movement became ceremony. A runner jogs in tight circles around the outer edge. His steps are rhythmic, almost drum-like, echoing off marble arches. He breathes soft and steady. Occasionally, he breaks into a sprint, making you almost feel the sun-scorched roads of Rome beyond. Then he slows, regains breath, and returns to measured pace, oil dripping down his arms. Some train alone, eyes closed, repeating the same motion. Others, groups, laugh and joke between reps. The mood is charged, but not hostile. A man in deep bronze armor lifts a short sword to practice strikes. Slow, controlled, focus etched on his face. Another rolls a small clay weight over his forearm, testing grip. Silence is rare. Challenge and cheers rise in mingled bursts. This was a place for boasting too. A merchant with broad shoulders pulls on a leather strap tied to a stone weight, puffing slightly. Nearby, some whisper. He claims he lifted the amphora from the back of the ship. Others nod. Another tale. But he lifts again and again, and the crowd grows. Test after test. Children watch from the edges, eyes wide. They mimic punches in the air. Some pull on ropes coiled at a pillar, testing strength, pretending. An older child coaches a younger, placing hands on shoulders. Balance, he says in Latin. The younger nods, eager and bright. Footsteps stray between hard stone and sand. Oil drips follow. Muscles coil and uncoil. The pale light of the midday sky pours in from open arches. Sunlight falling on arms, backs, thighs moving in practiced repetition. A warm breeze circulates, carrying the earthy tinge of the courtyard beyond. A trainer, bare-chested and confident, moves between athletes, offering gentle corrections. Pull your left shoulder back, sink your hips, keep the oil off your feet. His voice is calm but firm, comfortable in the quiet hubbub of activity. You touch a stone column, cool, etched with marks, faint graffiti. Someone once wielded a bronze cuff here. Someone else wrote, "Strength above all." Another scrawled, "My father beat me here." The words echo, faded but persistent. They speak of long use, of lives shaped in this space. In the corner, men practice wrestling, holds on a felt mat woven from goat skin. They roll, grapple, pin. One is nearly overweight for war, another wiry and precise. Oil helps them slip out of holds, testing again. When a wrestler escapes, the two grin, sweat gleaming. No insult, just test. Ropes hang from beams. They swing from them, chest high, pulling weight up with every reach. Others tie small stones around ankles to train balance. Between arches, stones have been placed for step drills. Feet up, feet down, rhythm like marching drums. You hear laughter too, when someone slips, when someone lifts more than expected. Feet shuffle. A coin lands at a vendor's tray. A lad offers dried figs and flatbread for sale just outside. Some workers take a break, gathering morsels. Oil glistens, even on the bread of their hands. This place is communal, yet intimate. People watch each other's form. Some encourage, others study. A young athlete eyes the man lifting the stone ball, measuring his own limit. Perhaps tomorrow he'll try it himself. You feel pulsing energy around you, the liveliness of purpose. The palestra is more than warming up for Bath. It's humanity in motion, desire translated into muscle, a place where skin shines, breath deepens, spirit races, midday sun shifts overhead, light and shadow dance across bodies at work, sand drifts from lodge to floor, the smell of warm earth grows, laughter, grunts, cheers, clinks, everything forms a living tapestry. A man steps forward, rubbing oil into his hair. He ties it back in a simple knot. He heads for the wrestling match. Keen eyes, ready form. Another stretches calves against a column. He's quiet, closes his eyes and centers himself. Some scrape bronze scrapers across their arms, scraping off oil and dirt before entering the next hall. Others gather towels, drying skin with soft linen. They take one look, then return to lifting stones, to lunges and shouts. But mainly, people remain here. Some skip the baths, choosing to sweat and breathe. Others come only for this. They leave the caldarium untouched and return home as they came, quiet but not silent. Once, a senator from Asia Minor visited and watched a weightlifting contest. He came in regal garments, sleeves long, sandals soft. He asked to try. They handed him a fist-sized stone to lift. He hoisted it, once, He dropped it carefully. Then he left, head high, laughter in the courtyard, oil on his robe. Nearby, a slave trainer taught a group of rough laborers how to lift properly. He wore shaved hair and iron wristlets, his face marked by scars. But in teaching, he smiled. They mirror his moves, oil on their arms, sweat beads on his forehead, raw humanity again. The light shifts. A breeze moves through the hall, cooling the sweat shine on skin. It brings noise from beyond, children calling, birds chirping, a distant hammer. But in here, time holds its own heartbeat, steady, rhythmic, close. You feel the slow burn in your muscles, arms pulling, legs pushing. Even without moving, you empathize. The air is thick with purpose, grainy with sand, slick with oil, alive with breath. You realize you're part of it too, participant or observer. You share this. A voice whistles, the signal for a new match. Two men stand across from each other. They nod. A hush falls. Then they drop and tangle. Oil makes them slip. Sand whirs between their legs. The audience leans in, then laughs when both fall off the mat in fine bronze tumble. You notice the benches around. They're undressed stone, worn in places where hands come to rest. Underfoot, footprints linger in the sand. The floor pulses slightly. Someone wiped away sweat with a cloth and dropped it. Someone else stepped on it. Small things matter here. On one bench, someone left a clay weight, etched with 2 rings and the initials TF. A note inside reads, "From Tiberius Felix, with pride." And next to it, someone carved, "He won." Evidence of achievement, quiet legacy. You touch your own skin. Sweat clamored, oil bright. You're aware of warmth creeping across your back, of muscles awakening. The hour grows later. Some men start to treat the session like ritual. The final set, the last sprint. They quiet, breathe deep. Your senses sharpen. The smell, the dust, the texture of sand mixed with sweat on stone. It all forms a tapestry. You could stay here for hours. Some do, sweating until movement slows. Some come here to forget their day. Here, their only audience is breath and heart and stone. At the far end, steps lead down into a cool garden corridor. Transition to the tepidarium. But no one passes yet. Most stand still, reluctant to leave this place of energy and clarity. Some are shaking knuckles, flexing arms, wiping bodies with towels. Others are breathing heavily against columns. You realize this place is alive, not just with bodies, but with conversation. Near one group, a trader speaks. I've heard they crushed parading chariots for mosaic floors. Laughter answers. Another group debates the newest poet, the latest gladiator's feats, or the upcoming festival games. The trainer claps a wrestler on the shoulder, nods. You learn technique here, he says. The body follows. They share a silent acknowledgement. Gentle, pride, shared purpose, tactile intimacy. All of it still, even in movement, trickles into your skin. You lean against a pillar. Oil shines on your arm. Sand grips, calluses. Breath steadies. The noise pulses around you. No chaos, modulated, flowing. In that moment, you feel time separate. Outside, it runs like rushing river. Here, it layers like sediment. Slow, historic, textured. A final pair steps into the wrestling mat. Someone whistles. Everyone turns. Match begins again. Energy surges. Tension builds. Movement slows in respect, then resumes with thunk, gasp, effort, and so the ritual continues. You step from the energetic hum of the palaestra into a quieter space, feeling the difference the moment you cross the threshold. The stone beneath your feet is smoother, cooler than the sand and oil of the gym, yet still softly warmed by hidden channels. You inhale the air, gentle, still, comforting. The room stretches before you, shaping itself with calm. Sunlight drifts in through high windows, brightness mellowed by soft golden glass. The light moves slowly across marble walls, touching benches and floors in lazy arcs. Your eyes trace the patterns, swirls of colored stone, shapes recalling waves and vines, soothing, unhurried. In the center, a large pool holds warm water. It rests, undisturbed, reflecting high vaulted ceilings. The water ripples only when you dip a finger in, or when someone passes nearby. It invites, not demands you to step in, to let its steady warmth spread. The benches, inlaid with mosaics, line the edges. You sit and feel marble press gently into your back. The temperature is perfect. Not hot, not cold. It fills your bones with ease, as if each breath relaxes another muscle. The walls hold the warmth close, creating a space that feels both intimate and expansive. Some people recline on the benches, towels tucked around hips. Soft voices drift through the room. A merchant tells another about a shipment of wine arriving from Gaul. Nearby, two friends compare this pool to one they once saw in Antioch. Noting the softer light, their tone is calm, measured, tremulous with appreciation. In one corner, a scholar reads aloud from a scroll. His voice is low but clear, sharing poetry about rivers and twilight. Others listen, absorbing words with gentle smiles. You can imagine the words drifting on warm air, folding into the moment. A servant moves quietly among them, holding a shallow clay bowl of fragrant oil. He waits patiently, stepping toward someone who lightly nods. He dips his fingers and applies oil again, across shoulders, beneath arms, along legs. The oil soothes skin, drawn taut by earlier heat, massages into muscles still awakened by exertion. The healer in that gesture eases pain away, as if by magic. The scent of oil drifts upward, olive, lavender, cedarwood, mixing with stone warmth in a comforting blend. Each breath invites release. You feel your own skin warming, the heat binding. With muscle, your body remembers what it once forgot. Ease. Soft conversations continue. Not loud laughter, not city's clamor, just quiet appreciation. The merchant laments the difficulty of traveling with fragile amphorae. An athlete compares stone bench carvings. A traveler from Spain remarks on how this room feels like a second sunrise, shared and deeply personal. No one rushes. Some drape towels over shoulders, drying oil-slick arms. Others dip again into the water, feeling wet heat spread across their chest and belly. Children slip in, splashing quietly. An elder kneels at the edge, his fingers tracing mosaic shapes. as though reading them like stories of the past. As you sit, you're aware of your breathing slowing. Your skin still carries the texture of sand-pulled sweat and lingering oil. Light plays across your arms. You allow yourself to watch small details. The flicker of candlelight reflected in shallow water, the drip from a worn bronze basin, the ripple as someone shifts a foot in the pool. Two men lean in a soft exchange. One whispers, "Thanks," for help with a business deal, paid for in the palestra. The other lightly pats his friend's elbow, a moment of companionship, unguarded and real. The architecture itself seems to soften around you. Domed ceilings curve away, leading your eyes upward. Stone arches hold patterned shadows that shift as light moves. Decorative friezes run along the walls. Grapevines, dolphins, laurel wreaths, symbols of abundance and gentleness. Moss green and terracotta hues deepen the calm. You almost expect to trace the vines with your fingers. Nearby, a sound. Someone clears their throat, water risking. Others pause in conversation and smile kindly. Another man laughs softly and resumes. A ripple of camaraderie moves through the air. On a bench, stacked towels, still fresh, are sprinkled with lavender petals. Their scent mingles with oil and stone. You picture the servant handling them carefully, rubbing smooth the rough edges. You breathe again, slower still. The words you hear are soft. They hum across marble and mosaic. A quote from a distant poet drifts past. Let water wash the dust of earth from your limbs, and calm fill your soul. It's near hypnotic in this quiet heat. Your vision blurs a little, coaxed by warmth and ritual. Every sound is softer, footsteps muted, voices blending, water lapping. You feel held in amber calm. The servant returns to your bench and holds out the oil jar again. You reach for it, appreciating its smooth curve, fine inscription. You pour oil into your palm and rub your shoulders. Each pass loosens a knot you didn't know remained. You notice the first signs of release. Jaw softens, shoulders drop. The bench invites recline. You stretch out, legs extended, back pressing into cool smoothness. Your skin cools slowly against marble, warmed only where oil deepens heat. The contrast is blissful. Faint footsteps approach from behind as another traveler comes through. A rider arriving late. He presses a towel to his brow, drops gently onto the bench next to you. You neither speak nor need to. A nod passes between you, companionship without words. The water in the pool shifts. Someone stands and moves through, knee-deep. Their wet robes cling, water dripping. You sense their motion through vibrations in the stone floor. They pause to pour oil onto their arms. You can hear the pleased sigh. The arches behind you lead to other rooms, hotter ones, steamier ones, quieter ones. But for now, the tepidarium is your world. Nothing more is required. Memory floats in the patterns beneath your ankles. The mosaic fish, vines, swirling patterns. Tiny fragments of tile match across the room like collective sighs held in stone. You feel connected to countless hands that helped build this place. Rest here, leave it for others. Nearby, someone knocks a small clay jar. It rolls, coming to rest beside your foot. You set it upright. Small kindness. Then drop your eyes back to the floor. Some voices fade, others begin. A soft chorus of ease and calm. Another man stretches his arms overhead, lengthening the lines between shoulder blades. A servant brings fresh water to his feet, steam rising off damp skin. Tiny droplets glisten. You pull your robe tight, draping the towel across your legs. The scent of cedar-tinged oil fills your nose again. You tilt your head back, feeling the warmth in your bones. You allow your mind to wander, like a slow breeze across water. You think of evenings to come, of laughter shared later, of steps taken slowly on mosaics. You note the quiet artistry, the skill here. No shouted commands, no buzz of palace, only rhythm. Time passes by pulse. You sense it rather than count it. Each moment pools inside you like warm water. You're present, rooted. Another scholar stands and recites a line from a book on rivers. Flow is life, stillness is repose. You wonder the meanings echo in walls, and water too. A child's foot nudges small stones in the mosaic. He runs a finger along the grout. Tingles of curiosity echo. On your bench, the marble turns mildly warm near your thigh. A bead of oil slides off your skin, making a small, dark line on marble. You accept it, without shame or care. No one asks you to hurry. None ask who you are. All are welcome if time is gentle. A soldier lifts a towel and brushes sweat off his brow. He leans forward on knees, breathing slow, controlled. The veins on his arms tighten and ease. He straightens and with barely a glance gathers his robe and steps toward the next chamber. You register his departure, but remain still as stone. Another man yawns softly, running a hand over his face. He settles deeper on his bench. Music enters. Someone taps slender fingers on marble, and a soft rhythm fills the room. Others join with hums. No instruments, just bodies creating resonance. That song doesn't carry force. It lulls. You feel drowsiness begin, even as warmth deepens. But you stay here, poised, anchored, listening to hearts, steps, water, the monkish chant of shared relaxation. A servant collects empty oil vessels, sliding them into a wicker tray. He moves like a shadow. The soft pile of jars echoes on the bench. You lean your head back again, appreciating the slow surrender. You don't need to leave. The heat is quiet. The room continues a breath with you. Another pool ripple catches your eye. Then your vision blurs low, drifting toward the color of fish mosaic. A line from the poet drifts past. Under warmth, we remember our softness. You smile to yourself. A final step. You feel the tide pulling you deeper, out of the hall, but not yet. You weigh warmth against promise of steam, hot baths, but you stay just a moment longer, sunk into marble, mothering stone. Every now and then, someone shifts on a bench. A distant laugh, a soft exhale. The lull of the tepidarium is alive. You do not wake. You do not rise. You rest in the gentle heart of the tepidarium. Stepping deeper into the bathhouse, the air shifts. There is a tangible change. The warmth intensifies, wrapping around you like a soft cloak that grows tighter. The aroma shifts too, thicker now with steam and hot stone, mingled with faintly smoky undernotes, hinting at the hidden fires below. You feel the heat before you see it, a slow surge against your skin, sinking into your bones. The room before you is vast, its domed ceiling curves far overhead, carved veins of marble, glowing in the hot mist. Light is faint here, flickering in bronze lamps that cling to walls like distant suns. Every surface glimmers with moisture, and sound becomes slowed, voices softened, footsteps muted, water sighing and dripping in small, steady patterns. Your feet rest on marble that is gentle at first, but grows steadily warmer. Beneath it, the Hippocaust system works in quiet diligence. Steam rises from tiny vents, a mesh of flues hidden beneath arches and brick channels. The floor itself is alive, heated from below by unseen furnaces that burn constantly, feeding warmth upward like a breath beneath the room. You can feel these waves through your soles, as if the earth itself pulses in time with your heartbeat. Steam swirls in curtains and clouds, half veiling shapes of bench and pillar. You emerge from the mist like a shadow, out of focus, in focus again. There is momentum to the heat, rising, surging, pulling at your chest and limbs, loosening muscles, slowing thought. In one corner, a worker shovels fresh wood into a furnace below, unseen but essential. You hear the dull thrum, faint, like a deep drum beat that echoes under stone. That drum guides your breathing, deeper, slower, deeper into calm. The room is thick with calm, but also pressure. Pressure to stay, to immerse, to linger. You glance at others. A man kneels by a hot plunge pool, steam clouding his head as he dips a toe. He inhales sharply, then exhales, eyes closing. When he sinks into the waste, the relief is nearly audible, a muted sigh that joins the pool's soft lap against stone. People recline on benches, carved into walls. Their blankets of cloth have been shed. Some lie face down, arms hanging over the edge. Others lean back, chests rising and falling in slow, rhythmic breaths. Skin gleams in the dim glow. Sweat beads on clay vessels left by their sides. Oil has given way to perspiration, a mix of cleanse and release. A servant stands by a bronze strigil bowl, keen and polished. Its edge catches faint light as he moves beside each bathgoer. The strigil is curved, sharp, built to scrape away oil, dirt, sweat, grief, weight. The servant works with ritual precision, arm outstretched, muscle tensed. He presses strigil to skin and pulls, harvesting a ribbon of oil and dust, slivers of old weariness. The sound is soft, moist, intimate in hush. You watch, transfixed, as tension unmasks itself. There is an unhurried rhythm. Dip, breathe, scrape, breathe, repeat. And so, the bodies become raw again, unburdened. Beside the plunge pool, men converse in half whispers. Their voices catch in the steam, tiny clusters of sound drifting up, then dissolving. One man murmurs, gravely, about a deal made at dawn. Another whispers back about an accusation against a senator's son, heated enough to cost a fortune. But no one hears. The steam swallows words. Still, the energy of gossip pulses, furtive, sacred. You sit at the edge, dipping a forearm in the pool. Steam rises to your elbow. The water is deeper and hotter than any other room. It coils around you, slow and indulgent. Belly high now, it feels like immersion into pure awareness. Your chest pushes gently against its surface, heart slowing again. The walls are solid marble, but under the surface they radiate warmth, silent but generous. You press your palm against a carved surface, its patterns barely visible beneath moisture. Vines, dolphins, laurel, you imagine them shining in sun before this place was built. Now, they glow in the heat. Occasionally, men rise and move slowly. They pace barefoot on floor, walk over heated gaps, feel the difference between stone and cooled tile. Flow becomes meditative, steps gentle, thoughtful. You sense depth of philosophy here. Some come to think, solve problems in steam. The steam binds focus, softens noise. A poet sits cross-legged near the plunge, smoothing a leather scroll tube. He turns toward a wrestler, still dripping oil through scraped, and asks softly a question about fame, silence, purpose. A silence answered by water and plunged quiet. There is wisdom in stillness. At a distance, a pair discuss upcoming elections. Their whispers are clipped, trailing vapors. You lean forward, hearing sneak of policy, hints of alliances built in steam and stone. If you strain, you catch a name, a public official accused in court. Someone responds with an oath, and yet it floats, untouched. A slender man slides onto a bench across the room. He runs strigil up his thigh and along sinewy muscles. Long, slow motion that gains focus. The scrape sound is fabricless, pure contact. You feel it in your bones. He glances at another nearby. Their eyes meet. A nod passes between them. No words. Women do not come here. Their voices could guess. But men meet in steam and stone. The co-presence of bodies in near nakedness creates that kind of intimacy. Equal vulnerability, equal warmth. A dip in the hot pool. You intake a deep breath. You resurface slowly, hands to knees. Steam consumes you. Your mind clarifies, softened by heat. Thoughts unravel and reorganize, perhaps wiser for it. It is easy to drift toward questions of purpose, memory, obligation. Beside you, a soldier glides to the water, large scar across his chest, trace of battles. He lowers in, silently. You see his face relax under steam. You wonder what he thinks, of war, of peace, of home. A writer, crouched on a bench, dips cloth in water and re-wets it over his brow. He begins to speak, quietly, slowly, a story of a shipwreck, of loss, of the sea and mercy. No one interrupts. The steam commutes his speech, turns words into memory. A slow chant begins elsewhere, just a soft hum. Voices reach together, weaving through columns. It feels ancient, primordial. The walls absorb sound, reflect it soft and deep. You can't measure time here. There are no clocks, only pulses and rise and release, heat and hush, steam and thought. Someone shifts on your other side, out of naked intimacy. You feel their chest, their legs, heating, breathing. You breathe in sympathy for their warmth. The servant returns with a bowl of fresh water. He offers it to you. No words. You lift it. Feel the temperature. Scalding, but safe. The steam curls off it, reminding you of the dome overhead. Good form. Humility. You sip slowly, leaning back. The heat drifts up, loosening knots you've held perhaps since you walked in. Sweat beads on your lip. You let it drip, surrendered to the moment. The steam blinds your vision with haze. Shapes vanish and reappear. Anyone could be a friend, a conspirator, a stranger, a memory. It matters not. The heat holds space equally. A scuffle rises. Two men rise in argument. One says, "I heard he cheated at dice." The other denies. Another man hushes them. Words pass. Eyes roll. They dip into the pool instead. Resetting. Releasing. Forgiving in warm water. Nearby, someone kneads oil between palms and presses it to their temple. The scent of cedar and bay fills the space again. Heat steadies. You feel warm in your heart, warm in your bones. A tall youth helps a shorter one lean over the pool, teaching him to stand upright in water. They laugh quietly at the balance, the heat, the wonder of calm. Teacher and pupil, they share that moment. On your skin, your fingertips tingle. The heat flows upward, deeper into muscles. You catch your own breath. You feel just dawn. You feel weightless. You feel calm. The lights flicker. Shadows swirl over faces. The steam shifts again. Water ripples across benches. You stand to move. Warmth flows down your legs. You walk toward the edge of the pool and lie against pooled water. Your back meets stone. You feel sculpted and propped. You hear water splashing your side. You dip a foot. A hiss of contact. Somewhere in the distance, the clatter of the hippocaust flue changes. Wood added. Heat pulses. A small group sits cross-legged, sharing bread and a bit of sweet wine. Their container is simple. A clay amphora passed among them. They sip, sit, exhale. You watch the candlelight catch droplets on their skin. You hold the plunge pool's edge and breathe. The heat surrounds and presses you outward into belonging. Thoughts drift, piece by piece. Do I dare reveal plans in steam? Will I recover the silversmith's debt? Will I win favor? Or will all these thoughts seep out in sweat? Gossip spills in subtle arcs, with laughter and then soft hush. It's a dance, an intimate sway between warmth and words and possibilities. The bathhouse hears it all and forgets it all. The room grows warmer still. Steam thickens. You can't see more than 2 paces ahead, but the heat brings clarity. You know you must move, but you're welcome to stay. Yet you stand, mercury threshold moment. You step away from pool. Your skin burns softly in the open air of the chamber's center. You move across marble slabs. Your palm glides across warm stone. Each step echoes softly. You approach a wider corridor where steam drifts into the next room. Softer heat, crisp air noise of cooling. But you pause. This caldarium moment lasts longer than others. It's a desire to stay, to linger. Your voice, probably swallowed by steam, speaks. You might whisper one word, tomorrow, and it lingers. You step from the moisture of the caldarium into a world that feels entirely different. The air here is dry, little steam, almost no mist. The warmth presses upon you in a sharper way, like the sun trapped in stone. You've entered the laconicum, where heat takes a new shape, one that burns quietly but thoroughly, like embers glowing within the walls. The chamber is round, the walls curved to gather heat. It rises like a beehive, concentric rings guiding your gaze up to the apex. Stone benches hug the perimeter, carved in smooth tiers, as though hewn with care to cradle people in layers of warmth. The light is soft and muted. Oil lamps set deep into niches, haloed by scorched stone, giving off a copper glow. Shadows pool at your feet. The first breath of air feels thick, dry, and holding promise. Your chest tightens, but not unpleasantly. Each inhalation takes focus, because each is precious. The heat here isn't humid or restless. It's still, patient, relentless. It sits on your skin like fine dust and restarts the body's awareness of itself. Men settle onto the benches. Some slide off robes and fold them neatly at their feet. Others press towels across brows, already glistening with sweat. You see arms held to chests, knees drawn slightly to calm the rush of blood. The surface beneath, pillow-like marble, warmed by hidden fires, makes obvious this is a place to stay silent, stay present. A hush settles, not cold, not echoing, more like the quiet that follows a deep intake of breath. Voices here would crack the spell. So few speak. Some close their eyes. Some tilt heads back. They ground themselves in the stones and the rising heat. You feel it, line by line, moment by moment. Slowly, awareness becomes a slow expansion, like a flower opening inside your ribs. Silence is not emptiness. It expects something. It expects presence. A young advocate, there to clear his head before a trial, sits with stiff posture. He clenches his fingers against the seat. He breathes, steadying nerves, searching beneath his scalp. He offers no words. No one asked, but you feel his effort. Across from him, an elder poet leans forward. He speaks softly, more to himself than anyone. He murmurs lines of verse, thinking them over, tasting words. An apprentice listens quietly, scribbling highlights on a wax tablet. The air distorts the edge of gnarled lines, but they continue. Thought, sound, intent. A third man, shoulders already coat-dappled with sweat, debates policy with a friend. Their voices are low, measured, each syllable deliberate. They lean in as though their words must be shielded from the flames around them. Politics in silence, waiting to flare into meaning. No histrionics, no grand proclamations. Instead, quiet strategy glimmers in sweat-dulled stares. The benches slope downward, each row warmer than the one below. There's a hierarchy here, a slow rise into greater heat. Some have moved down until the warmth touches even their necks. Others linger in the less intense upper tier, learning their limits. A drop of sweat begins near your hairline, drifting down. It tastes of mineral, of stone, of heat. Every breath is labored now. Every exhale slows. Your blood shifts closer to your skin. The room becomes a soft furnace, but not a race. Here, you don't burn out, you rededicate. Bodies glimmer, skin shines, veins appear like etched paths across muscles and arms. Each man is present in himself and for the room. A hush hums through them, a soft hush shifts, a foot slides. Someone shifts a little forward. At one side, a man coughs once. A drink of water is faintly audible, a small blessing in dryness. Lamps flicker, shadows dance, and then a deeper hush. You hear only breath, refined, near panic for a moment. Then it settles, becomes a beat of patience. A young soldier tests himself. He clenches fists, slows breath, watching heat vanish tension. He remains still. The room pulses with his resolve. Topics in here are strong. Some talk of family, quiet, hopes in the stillness. Others mention debts, laws, alliances. The air needs words. The poem of someone comes back. Memoirs, glimpses of lost loved ones, hopes for tomorrow. In a moment of silence, a voice breaks, betrayed by doubt. I fear judgment at dawn. Response is a nod, respectful kindness. There is no insult to ask anyone to speak softly. The heat demands respect. The heat demands stillness, and yet presence demands something more. A kind of honesty, because here, no one hides. Blood is hot, voices tremble on edge, but intention is clear. Each has come for purpose, whether recovery, meditation, or preparation. Soft tension begins to loosen, even as heat increases. You lean forward, touching sweat-misted stone below. It is smooth and glowing. It feels alive. Warmth spreads from hands to feet. A ripple of calm radiates through your spine. Near one man, someone tips, bottled, water into his palm. He pours it onto his forehead, releasing a hissing sigh. The steam curls, rinsing impurities from flesh. The scent of hot mineral and stone returns. You take a slow breath of it, savoring. Another exchanges a few quiet words with the poet. Words weave like smoke, he says. The poet nods. They breathe together. The room gathers their presence. The benches respond. Heat pools along marble curves, wrapping around bodies like silent witnesses. You close your eyes. For the first time here, not to sleep, but to sense. Heat on your eyelids, breath against your lips, skin pressed by expectation, a tingle. Someone shifts again behind you. Metal clasp, scraping cloth. Everyone flinches. The heat sharpens. A face reddens. A cough. The hush rebuilds. Men choose the dry heat not out of indulgence, but necessity. A warrior builds resilience. A craftsman burns off his pains. A student clears his head. A poet makes room for words. The silence grows thicker. You feel it filling every corner. The dome amplifies, holds the tone. Heat gets deeper, more intimate. Some step down another tier, closer to a small vent. It brings air filtered from outside. They tilt heads back and breathe. A healing moment. Metal against marble. The benches feel like natural forms. Earth couches carved into stone, rounded for knees, designed for bodies in rest. The tiers form slow rings of community. When one speaks, The ring shrinks to here. That is all connection needs here. Your skin gleams. Your body is raw in the hush. Somewhere, steam hisses. You breathe in time with that. In, pause, out. Each breath carries weight, yet frees it too. The heat becomes ally. A whisper rolls across a tear. Did you hear the new senator's vow? More hush. The words are nearly fragrant, trembling with power. You hear 7 men murmuring in succession. Plans for tomorrow. Alliance forming in silence. Heat keeping them safe, sealed. A solitary figure stands facing a stone pillar. He murmurs to himself. Poem? Prayer? You can't tell. But strength radiates from him. His voice rubs against heat, born differently than anywhere else. He pauses. They listen. They don't interrupt. On your other side, a man massages oil into his scalp. Small ritual against dryness. The oil smells of almond. He fishes for a cloth and wipes drips. A faint smile on his face. Time is unmeasured here. Only duration, heat, presence, endurance. Each man carries his own breath, his own thoughts. There is no hurry, only staying, only enduring. Together, the warmth enhances honesty. It softens defenses. Men who might be rivals outside this room share space in sweat. They don't speak on equal terms. They speak with equal weights. A measure of sincerity. An older man nods at the poet, murmuring words of approval. The poet tenses, then exhales. Gratitude drifts between them. A moment rendered complete in silence. Your breath is slow. Your pulse matches others around you. A scroll rests on your lap. Opened, but not read. A fight between cold and warmth arises in thought. You decide to simply close it. You flex your shoulders. Feel the stone-benched curve around your spine. Heat warms every surface. Your eyes droop in focused ease. A lamp catches the tip of your lashes. Inhale, hold, exhale. Let silence carry meaning. Nearby, a small group rises. They go quietly to a low basin. They pour water onto their foreheads, smoothing each drop with a fingertip. They step down the benches in silence. No rush. They exchange nods with those remaining. They leave space for themselves. And for those left, the bench tightens, then relaxes. One man, sitting alone, inclines his head and closes his eyes. His breathing slows. He turns inward. He becomes his breath. If stone could live, it would breathe with him. Perhaps it does. You sip water, a careful sip. Small, respectful, no rush. The coolness spreads over your tongue, then cools your throat. You pause a moment, then return to silence. A faint echo drifts. Someone outside testing sleepers for story. You sense the boundary thin. The hush is strong here. A reverent stillness. Time becomes a forgetful thing, not counted by moments, but by heat's depth. You feel as if you've been here long enough to unravel a few cares, to gather quiet truth. The shadows have softened under arches. Lamps flicker in low wind. The heat begins to pulse slower, deeper. This room's furnace is alive, as you are. You lean back. Marble warms your spine. Sweat drips softly along your cheek. You do not wipe it away. You allow it to linger, a remembrance of this moment. Water born by fire. Someone hums a line of verse. Others echo softly. The sound feels healing, communal, wordless symphony, conjured without instruments. You feel draped in flame, rooted, raw, real, and still. After the lingering warmth of the caldarium, you cross into the next chamber, and in that single step, the world shifts. The air is sharper here. No steam, no mist, just crispness that feels clean and alive. The walls are cool stone, their surfaces polished by centuries of water and breath. A hush settles over everything, heightened by contrast. Your feet touch the cool tile. Bright mortar between stones running over mosaic scenes. Vines, fish, sky patterns. Even the floor seems to breathe in the chill. Fish motifs peer up at thermometers, painted into the stone centuries ago. Ahead lies a wide, shallow basin. Black water, calm under flickering oil lamps. A body of ice-cooled liquid that beckons with stillness. The plunge pool here is the antidote to heat, the final release before exit or continuation. A man steps in first, gathering courage. He descends chest deep, then breathes sharply when the cold hits. His face tightens. His shoulders cry out. You can almost feel the shock. Feel your own body contracting at the imagined cold. He holds still, standing calm through the wave. In that brief stasis, there is triumph. Simple, visceral. Another man follows, shoulders dipped, then deeper. Water splashes low and quiet. The sound is sharp. A sudden pan. Air fills lungs with clean chill. The body twists, shivers, then resolves. The pool calls again. You step toward the edge. You sense the cold, not yet touching skin. But at the first touch, the reaction comes. Sharp intake, heart quickening. You close your eyes. Let limbs quiver. Cold rushes up your legs, halts in your chest. You stop, hold, breathe. Returning to dry stone, you feel alive. Circulation hums. Flesh feels deep. Cool air opens pores. You breathe deeper. Awareness heightens. Two men stand on opposite sides, facing each other. Water glistens on their chests. One laughs. A short, colorful laugh that breaks solemnity. Another splashes quietly. A sudden ripple sends waves outward, catching the candlelight. In larger baths, natatios, open pools, wait beyond. Their edges are lined by columns, frescoed walls, sitting spaces carved of marble. The colder water stays in open air, catching breezes. Trees surround the atrium, leafy branches tipping near. Sun sometimes filters through, warming parts of the water. In winter, the chill is sharper. In summer, startling and sweet. You edge forward. Water cools the marble surface. You sit on the step. Water covers your calves. You glance across to others, travelers, merchants, poets. They are all here. Maybe they came warm. Maybe they're cold, like you. But here, they stand together. A soft shiver passes the group. Collective reaction to cold. The pool sits still. The air is calm. The walls reflect ripples of torchlight. Your muscles tense, then soften. You breathe again. Someone kneels nearby, pouring water from a small amphora. The container is clay, earthborn, simple. He pours slowly, across arms, letting water carve rivulets. No rush, imitating quiet ritual. Around the natatio, a few converse softly. A poet quotes stanzas about winter's edge. Cold water heals, he says. It cleanses more than warmth. No arguments, just nods in golden light. You take a step deeper. The water climbs to your waist. Breath stills. Body halts. A second enters, calm. Your ears hear only water lapping at knees. Your skin prickles. Breath deepens. Entering fully, chest immersed. You tilt your head back. Water ripples around your face. You taste mineral, earth. Water is pure. Italian spring, channeled miles underground. Its coldness feels elemental, like emerging from a cave, like being baptized in a river. A traveler from Gaul steps beside you. He nods. You nod back. No words. Not needed. The room hums with quiet reality. Footsteps erase. Voice hushes in favor of still water. The plunge shakes loose tension, disrupts routine. Blood rushes. Awareness sharpens. You glide fingers over the water's surface. You feel the ancient source, the aqueducts, channels, lead pipes. Careful engineers, you are in part of living water. A student stands at the steps, scroll in hand, reading aloud. His voice blurs slightly in the cold. He stops. He breathes, then continues. Wise words shudder in winter-tinged air. Others lean in. No hurry. A small group gathers at edge, heads close. They speak softly of politics, of public aid, of the grain supply. Their breath drifts in front like smoke. The cold reveals voice shape. No secrets can hide in air like this. A boy splashes ankle deep. He laughs. A bright splash disrupting stillness. Someone's hand dips to the water to push him gently back. Play, but careful. The cold sink cleanses more than the body. It seems to clear thought. Men stand calm, upright, mind sharp. Stillness deepens. You float weightless for a moment. Eyes shut, everything else removed. You hear your heartbeat in your ears. You feel the water envelop, and the room holds it all. A bronze lamp reflects grays and blacks in water. You open your eyes and stare at it. Water shifts the light into quivering patterns on the ceiling. Patterns swirl, like smoke, like heats, opposite. Beside the pool, a merchant offers olives and bread to companions. No words. Cold appetite returns, tempered by brisk water. Eating is slow ceremony. Chew and swallow. Flesh warms a bit. Two men exit to dry themselves. They wrap cloth around shoulders. The one who took the poet's lines repeats them softly. Cold water is truth. The other repeats. You step out slowly. Water clings as droplets drop. Marble feels cold now, satisfying. First, you stand still. Allow awareness to settle. A servant moves quietly with watermelon slices. Cool, still. Men gather. Juiciness bursting with new sensation. Cold in cold. A sweet punctuation. Another man kneads calf muscles with cloth. Warming slowly with pressure. You imitate. Cloth coarse, but effective. Soft conversations layer. A man speaks. Cold dip clears worry. Another echoes. I come for clarity. You sense that is true. You walk around pool's edge. Light plays in drops on tiles. Small tendrils glisten. The only movement. Silence thickens. Cold makes it hold. The poet leans on edge. Shoulders dipped. Chest calm. He recites softly. In cold, breath is God. Lines resonate. A young athlete stands beside him, repeating the words like a mantra. Muscle cooling. He murmurs again. In cold, breath is God. Grace finds meaning. You step back. A sudden chill lunges, and your first breath pulls. Then you settle again, acknowledging presence. Time survives sudden shocks. Another dip, deeper this time. You inhale, you exhale. Cold slips past lungs. Your body opens. In this cold plunge, you are yourself. No layers, no identity beyond skin in water. A silent baptism across centuries. Ripples, echo, light shifts. Breaths align, and stillness grows. You move from the lingering warmth of the frigidarium into a larger space where calm begins to spread. An open courtyard that feels like a breath after deep breaths. The air is lighter here, touched by sunshine instead of steam. Walls framed by columns open to the sky above. Vines and flowers climb along balustrades. Marble benches lie in gentle shade. Beneath your feet, cooling tile. Mosaic at the edges, open stone beneath, or sometimes simply warm slate. People settle here as though returning home after a long journey. Some sink into marble recliners, legs outstretched, robes draped neatly. Others nestle in tiny garden alcoves, filled with greenery. The court feels calm, alive only in soft murmur, not busy, but breathing. The scent is fresh, olive leaf, citrus, basil from nearby planting beds. Occasional breezes swirl petals onto the floor, where they rest quietly. You inhale and feel calm deepen, like dipping again in kindness. A servant glides among them, offering small clay plates of figs, olives, bread. He collects used cups of water and herbal tea, corners of linen towels. His movements are purposeful, but quiet, almost part of the design. Even unseen, he shapes the scene. To your left, a man lies back in one of those carved marble lounges. He stretches an arm above his head and tilts it gently. A second servant arrives. Hands steady, he holds fragrant oil infused with lavender, moss, maybe thyme. He pours it into his palm. Then, with slow grace, he begins to massage the muscles of the recliner. His hands follow the line of a shoulder blade, press into calf, knead tension until each knot yields. It's a slow, ritual-like dance between touch and release. Another figure sits with sandal in one hand, parchment in the other. He's halfway through reading a scroll. Your eyes follow faint script, laws, poetry, maybe bill of sale. He quietly recites to himself, soft murmurs, the echo gliding up against columns and drifting skyward. Children nap in corners, heads resting on robes folded like pillows. A small dog sleeps at their feet. Their sleep seems holy. No abruptness, no fear of noise. All is suspended in gentle shade and warmth. At the marble fountain in the courtyard center, water springs in small arches. A tune of droplets plays across stone. The pattern echoes in slow breaths of visitors, deepening calm. A drop falls, ripples spread, and stillness returns. forest-like calm, even amid the bustle. To your right, two traders sit cross-legged on a raised platform, a small table between them, with clay cups and slices of bread. They whisper of spice shipments from the east, of tax duties, of lands beyond the Tiber. Their tone is respectful, removed, but earnest. Occasionally they laugh, low, shared in understanding. No raised voices, just careful negotiation. Nearby, a scholar leans forward on a bench, palm on thigh, eyes closed. He shifts slowly when a small blade of grass brushes him. He inhales deeply, unspoken prayer for inspiration, then shifts to reciting quietly. Let city's noise give way to leaves. Let mind flow like water. He leans in again to read more. On his scroll, half finished, half shared, an older man stretches across a bench, hands behind head, eyes open toward sky. He breathes. He's relaxed. A robe covers his knees. Oil still glimmers along his forearms. He's returning from massage in the tepidarium. Slight sheen of oil remains. He tilts his head toward the sun, squinting softly. A group of young recruits lounge near a stone planting bed. They passed through the palaestra, the steam rooms, the cold dip, and now taste ease. One rubs oil across his torso. Another reclines and logs fatigue in eyes that gleam with satisfaction. A third opens an amphora of water, pours it between hands, and drinks slowly. A poet appears again, escorted by a young student who hands him a cup of cool water. He rises slowly, bows his head, accepts the cup, then sits. He smiles at the student, soft gratitude. Words not needed. Moving closer to a planting area, you see marjoram, mint, rosemary. The green scents rush out when a breeze catches. It chills sweat glands for a moment. A mix of warmth, water, and green herbs permeates each breath. You become aware of your own skin, the way it warms slowly but remains fresh. On a raised dais, against a wall, someone tutors a boy in reading. The boy traces bronze stylus across wax. He sounds out letters, basic syllables. His teacher encourages him softly. Quiet repetition. The boy's footsteps sound when he shifts in concentration. Small group reclines in the largest sunshine patch. They're merchants, priests, a soldier. Their legs are folded. They share dried figs and olive oil on bread, passing food around. No tray, just trust. Conversation drifts from trade routes to the upcoming festival of Ceres. One spies a date, catches it before another. They laugh quietly, words low and friendly. The marble floor near them warms with sunshine. They lie there like cats, rolling shoulders and necks. A servant picks up a dropped olive pit, politely picks it up, and returns it to tray. He notices nothing out of place. Even this gesture remains practiced, invisible, gentle. Beyond them, you notice small pools. The natatio. Their outline is faint from here, but you can see water shimmering in sunlight, contrasting with the tepid rooms. They promise cool reprieve, a soft alternative to the plunge for those who remain. Near one, a man dips tin cup into water. He drinks slowly. The tin glints. A drop falls onto mosaic near his foot. You see tiny colored stones, blue, aqua, green, cancelled by water. The mosaic returns to calm. On a corner bench, a middle-aged woman sits, slow or calm. She brushes hair with her fingers. Perhaps her husband is out for bath. Here, she waits silently. A book open. She reads. She pauses with soft smile, reading names in the writing. Thankful, reflective. Someone hums a tune. Faint, delicate. Others catch phrases. They hum too. It doesn't disrupt calm. Instead, it weaves through it. The sun slips behind a column. Temperatures deepen. Shadows lengthen over benches. You walk past raised beds. Sprigs of thyme and lavender peek above. White limestone. Bees hum in stillness. Their sound threads into drips from fountain. They collect nectar while men rest. Circle of life quiet and steady. A soldier, recently shaved of oil and sweat, reclines into shade. His arms flex and relax. He rests his head on folded robes. His chest rises and falls slow. He's at ease here, even in a world that demands speed. A poet returns with scroll to bench. He tugs wine cup near. He dips mouth, smiles at words he reads. Flagged section, unfinished ode. He reads lines again softly. Beneath heat comes truth. He avoids drawing attention, yet drawn by own voice. Others don't interrupt. Near the fountain, a trader murmurs of spices and silk. His friend nods, lip edge wet. Silk from Cathay. He leans in. They speak in cadence, woven with fountains and breeze. A boy nudges a dog awake. He pats it. The dog stretches, yawns, closes eyes. The boy chuckles. An unseen servant comes to smooth towel over boy's sleeping ground. You lean against a pillar, noting the scene. Light, shade, people still in motion but softened. Time slows. The breeze lifts robes around ankles, gentle as lullaby. A servant arrives with massage flannel. He kneads knotted calf. Each stroke is thoughtful. It sounds faint on marble. A scholar recites another line of thought. Rest is a seed of future action. He closes scroll. He places it beside him. It's midday still. But he leans into shade, fingertips grazing tile. Someone cracks a small crust of hard bread. They break pieces. Share. No hurry. They speak softly. Exchange thoughts about business. Faint music builds. Man tapping stick on mosaic edges. Others nodding. Folk tunes. Simple. Melody soft. Warm. Comforting like hearth. Fire. You notice the natatio. Open pool again. Someone immerses a towel in water, then wipes dry shoulders. That movement mirrors calming rain. You breathe deeply of basil scent, of olive oil, water, stone. You're here, but also there. Time's gone. Thoughts slowed. You'd like to nap on open marble, but decide to linger, to watch, to remain. Another man near you stirs. He stretches limbs, yawns. He stands to leave, wrapping a towel. He dips gently into natatio. Cool now in midday light. He steps out, paused, nods to the scholar. New leaves rest around him. Green sparks. The crows of courtyard seem far, replaced by cello of fountain, the soft lute of breeze. Movement quiets. Your pulse slows. Oil glows on one man's skin. He rubs wrist bones, flexes hands. A long sigh, content. He leans back, holds his breath. On benches, scribbled names remain. A poet etched. Here. We pause. Someone scrawled. After, yes. The memory holds. A servant lauds someone's towel pattern. Work small. Precise. They nod. Smile. Service acknowledged. You return your attention to tiles beneath. You see mosaic tide patterns, calm water rippled, maybe echo of natatio. A young boy stands, reading his own scribbles on column. I came. He smiles and steps to rejoin game players. A soft game of ring tossing. Focus low, laughter small and quiet. You stand and stretch, an urge to walk the fountain, to dip a foot, to sip water. You walk slowly, touch fountain edge. Water is chilled. You run thumb across the curve. You step back, still in relaxed, careful mode. A man with scroll stands near fountain. He reads aloud softly. Under calm sun, we mend. The others near him listen, attending, their faces soft. The courtyard hums, light filters, green and stone and water and sun and people, woven together. You feel both like visitor and fixture. Your mind drifts. You watch a petal land, then still, a hush, then breath of wind, stirring, gown, rustle of leaves, birds call, unseen. The birds are part of this pause. You find a bench, soft stone. You recline. The warm sun touch returns. You let hand fall, palm to tile. You feel the place you occupy along human line. A final whisper, sounds of whispered speech, petal tremor, fountain drips, time slows, edges blur, and at that moment, your body drifts in peaceful stillness, just another ripple in this courtyard's tapestry. In this hush of stone and water, tools lie waiting like quiet companions, each shaped for purpose and ritual. Oil jars, unguentaria, rest in alcoves and benches, clay or glass vessels with narrow necks and rounded shoulders. Their surfaces are smudged with earth and perfume. Some bear geometric lines, others show scenes. Grapes, laurels, symbols of gods. Their shapes vary, long-necked and elegant, squat and sturdy. Some nested neatly in baskets, others beside the strigil bowls. The jars hold fragrant oils. These oils are the lifeblood of the bath ritual. Olive oil infused with lavender, cedar, pine, even rose or violet in the summer months. You lift a jar, fingertips tracing the curve. A faint aroma, warm lavender, drifts up. You pour a small amount into your palm. It pools there, golden and thick. You draw it across skin, shoulder, arm, chest. The warmth helps it spread. It glides on skin with gentle resistance, smoothing away the dust and sweat from the palestra, softening edges of tension. Beside the jars, strigils lie in bronze or iron bowls. The strigil's arc feels perfect in the hand. A slight blade on one side, curved to follow body contours. You take one, feel its weight. It rests easily. A servant holds the bowl for you, fills it with warm water. You dip. Oil combines with water, creating slickness. You draw the strigil across skin, brisk but kind strokes, lifting old oil, dust, sweat, a soft sound, metal scraping flesh, a steady scrape, scrape. You exhale as the tool moves across back, arm, thigh. Each passage feels cleansing. Who knew dust could be pressed out of shoulders with such relief? Perfumes rest in tiny vials beside the jars. They are delicate, small enough to hide in a sleeve. You open one, liquid of amber or pale rose inside. A drop glides onto a cloth or skin. A breath later, cedar and myrrh swirl across marble, mixing with outdoor air. Faint, but distinct. A private reminder of elegance amid public space. The ritual unfolds in slow choreography. Each jar, each strigil, each drop of perfume has its moment. The oil is applied before exercise, for wrestling or lifting, so grip is better, sweat softened, then scraped off in the caldarium. Later, oils may be applied again in the tepidarium to calm muscles. Perfume marks a final note before people disperse. Subtle end to transformation. The tools gather on stone benches, rowed carefully. Bowls nested in clay trays, jars grouped by scent. Their presence is ritualistic. They are silent aids, witnesses to countless cleansing acts. You lean forward to touch a bowl, its smooth curve warmed by water. You can smell the residue. Musk, oil, maybe a hint of sweat, but mostly lavender. Roman baths are believed to keep bodies healthy. Water flowing in, flowing out, from aqueduct to drain. Doctors speak of humors, balanced in steam and warmth. Professors write of purification of skin and mind. Patrons speak of clear eyes, strong joints, ready bodies. They come to build strength and fortune. They bring ailments, aches, stress, complaints of city life, and hope the baths will help. But hygiene is complicated here. Water is communal and shared. No traveler stands alone. You stand in water once touched by dancers in the morning, by soldiers at midday, by children at afternoon. The same water is used again and again. Warm pools might be replenished more often, but smaller chambers may see many dozens of people per hour. You imagine water, raised through aqueducts, stored in lead-lined tanks, fed through channels. It fills pools, hot, warm, cold. It is scooped, poured, collected, but never changed between visitors. A thought crosses, oil and dirt whirl in the midst. Some think to add herbs or wine for cleansing. Others scold it as dangerous. Still, patrons enter. They trust its balms. You run a hand through lukewarm water from a communal bucket. It's still imperfect but tolerable. You take in a breath of steamy heat. You realize this is the compromise of shared life. To gain warmth and company, hygiene is modest, the understanding carried by travelers through centuries. People wash with clay. Some smear pale elite clay, terra sigillata, across limbs, scrub off with strigil. Others sprinkle water with bronze bowls. No soap, of course, but they use abrasive sand or ash in pipes. Scrub with cloth. The dust and water swirl and fall. You can almost see it. Dust in water, settling, stained on skin. Laughing echoes. A man joking about hair loss from scrubbing too hard with clay. Another warns him. Less clay and more cloth. The bowls and cloths reply with small wet thuds on marble. A servant stands behind, pouring hot water from larger pitcher into bowls. He walks the perimeter, always distributing. It feels like a ceremony of service, a collaboration of guests and staff keeping ritual alive. Of course, some tools are personal: fine cloths, private strigils, jars etched with names. Others are public: bowls in niches, scrapers wiped and reset. Patrons rinse tools in pools, then place them back. A tacit agreement. Tools survive only because people treat them gently enough. A man holds his strigil and bowl with careful dignity. He dips again and scrapes leg. He places tool into its place. He glances at another. Binocular gaze. Later will come business deals, paved by casual brushing of elbows in water. But now, there is only ritual. Oil jars are bought, carried by entourage. Each perfume selected with care. Frankincense for evening, lavender for morning. There are scented vines, coals with herbs, small censers. A small flick of flame releases steam and scent, used by women in other times, but rarely in men's hours. Still, the jars tell of present scents, heady, subtle, shifting. You taste the jar. Amber, fill your senses. You dip a finger and trail on marble. Touch that memory. The jar is gone now. Conversations cluster around tools. Is this the jar from Gaul? I smell cedar. Mine has been chipped. Names swap. Unguentarius. Someone jokes there's more money in unguents than heed. The servant smiles. He knows the money of clients is not counted in coins, but in repeats. Inscriptions appear on some jars. For Gaius Domitius. Blessings of Hygeia. These names are reminders. Ownership, blessing, promise, perhaps a gift, from lover to lover, or from governor to favored senator, or self-gift, honor of self. In niches carved out between columns, more jars rest. Servants refill them at dawn. Oil refills distilled from local presses, Tuscany, Baetica, or imported viniferous oils. Every jar holds geography. A group of men pause in discussion. A philosopher smears a cool lotion, castor oil, nutgrass infused, to ease calloused shoulders. Another asks, how do you find balance? They discuss recipes, barley meal in oil, almond pulp. A small text is passed, scribbled in square letters. You step closer. Words flutter. 2 sestertii for 5 ounces. Softening sugar of Hispania. The recipe glimmers. A domestic alchemy turned public art. A servant brings a basin of warm water, marble base. He dips a cloth in and extends it to someone. They wipe jar, polish lid, then return vessel. Silent thanks exchanged. You glance at the floor. Small tiles inset with grooves to catch water and oil. Drains lie nearby, but surface remains slick sometimes. Visitors shift feet carefully. Sound changes. Water's light shush. Echo on stone. A woman from morning hours, once scrubbed in this place. Her perfume lingers. You sense it even now. Low lavender haze left behind. The memory lingers a moment, tasteful and ghostly. You pour water over palm. Feel wet warmth remain. You imagine the strigil's edges, the interval between smooth and rough. You feel the filth of city on skin. Scrub, scrape, repeat. The oils have stories of their own. Cedar from Phoenicia, saffron infused from Crete, lavender from Gaul, olive safflower blends from Africa, each scent a signal. Distant field, copper sun, cultivators' hands. Their pottery containers painted disciplines of craft, patterns spiral, etched by wheel. Then they travel over cobbles, pressed into wood racks. Then they line niches in stucco, walls. Then sculpt spare figures of soldiers in the mosaic. Then hands lift. You watch a servant cradle one. He dips fingers in thick olive base. He announces softly, "New batch of gae." Others breathe in that word. It means earth. They nod. A man draws brush over shoulders, hums quietly. Someone else slides past, leaving sandal prints that mark where they stood. You feel the slow pulse of ritual. Tools are weapons in calm. They calm. They reveal. A servant gathers jars at dusk. He organizes them, separates them in racks. He brushes each neck, maintains symmetry. It's an unseen ritual that sustains ritual. You walk slowly through the aisle of jars. Each mark tells a story. Your neighbor's gift, your own lineage, your rival's generosity. You inhale deep, feel hearts knit. The strigils now rest on cloth, their bronze edges dark. A small drop of water clings. You press a fingertip. It's smooth. You feel heat from marble beneath. Bathing is a journey. Oil, sweat, scrape, rinse, repeat. With every step, the tools sing, cleanse, refresh, reveal. Your breath slows again. You touch a jar, a violet perfume. You smell dusk. You realize it might be time to rise. But tools hover, gentle temptations of return, cycle, harmony, ritual. Each tool invites, step by step, drop by drop, repeat. But for now, you hold the moment. You notice, as you move through the warm corridors and open courtyards, that society, momentarily, becomes gentle mingling. The marble and water erase much of the distance between people. A senator, his toga slightly loose, sandals still polished, sits beside a leather worker whose hands smell faintly of tanning fluids. Neither interrupts the other's presence. They share the same bench, the same warm air. They exchange nods, soft words. That is all. Rich and poor tread the same worn paths here. A wealthy merchant, gilded ring on finger, offers chilled water to a laborer who's just returned from the palestra. They speak of the midday market, barley prices, the taste of fish from the Tiber. Their voices are measured, respectful. The exchange feels sincere, based on simple need and shared humanity rather than wealth or title. A woman from morning hours drifts by, draped in a heavy linen gown, still damp from the frigidarium. She hums softly, her steps light. She greets a soldier, waiting for the caldarium, with a polite word, "Veil." The soldier bows his head, just slightly. He's been shaving oil-slick hair from under his chin. He nods back, "Veil." No scorn, no glare. Neither expects anything more. Men and women, although they rarely bathe together, sometimes share whispers in adjoining chambers. A man leans against a wall, reading from scroll. He hears a female voice on the other side, a poetess, some say, reciting lines of loss and longing. They speak carefully, through thin barrier. She mentions an upcoming festival. He responds with a poem he once heard. The walls swallow their words, but their spirits meet. Some rooms were meant for co-ed bathing, others forbidden. Those that allowed both always carried sharp tension mixed with relief. Children laughed under watchful eyes of mothers. Gentle scrolls passed between stools and benches, lessons in rhetoric and endurance. Women from wealthy homes thought this proper self-care. Some male patrons, for a price, remained silent or discreet. Scandal always simmers. News flows through the baths just as surely as the water. A rumor began there that a senator's son was caught cheating at dice. Spreads quietly from bench to pool edge. Merchant nods to guest and says, he lost more than coins. The matter becomes topic of whispered speculation, reborn as fact in sentencing corners. Innocence and guilt float in steam and soak together. A group gathers beneath an arch, businessmen negotiating contracts for olive oil shipments. They share clay cups of wine, speak of distant lands, Egypt, Hispania, Asia. They measure trust in long glances, careful words, final nods. A handshake on the marble bench seals the deal. The echo, almost silent, is a binding sound. Sometimes rumors carry darker weight. You overhear talk of a missing slave girl, and the suspicion falling on a freedman who also bathes here. There's talk of fine to be paid. A few men glance sideways at someone wearing a discreet gold chain. The chain's owner meets their eyes and remains calm. For now, even criminal plans may emerge. Two men speak in code near the frigidarium, plotting the theft of a merchant's account book. The steam muffles their voices. Light from flickering lamps obscures their faces. They smile quietly, certain of success, but other patrons catch glimpses of intent. Soon, protective whispers begin. Alerts spread, guards shift pace, gold boxes tighten. The ripple starts small, but deepens fast. Stories travel with surprising speed. A fire in a tavern, a sudden death by plague, a senator seen weeping outside court. Each breath of news flows through the baths before midday. Women whisper over towels in quieter wings. Men nod along benches. Commons and elites share this living newsfeed. It's a daily ritual. Bathe, then learn of the world anew. Private. Grudges settle here too. A man who cheated another in a deal stands near marble bowl. His rival confronts him. Soft words first, then louder, clearer. A small crowd gathers, hands tense. But before rashness escalates, security appears, diffuses scene. Then all relax again. Some because it was drama, some because fear. A man collects himself, bows low, offering olive oil jar. Gesture accepted. Forgiveness emerges, or at least civil calm. Children don't just laugh, they learn. They carry water and pastries for older patrons. They deliver jars of oil or bowls to elders. In return, the elders pass lessons, a word of Latin, a proverb, directions for future life. A child repeats, trying words, eyes wide. The future is quietly shaped. Here, you see a poetry reading in motion. A hollowed stone platform acts as stage. A man recites lines. The stars above mirror the pool below. He speaks softly but clearly. Others sit cross-legged, reciting along. Some tap toe to beat. Impression, share, a hush of appreciation. Then applause in glaze of marble. Language remains sacred here. Even religious observances unfold. A few linger at a small statue of Hygeia in the corner. They dust petals on her head and murmur thanks for health. They dip fingers in fountain and anoint forehead. It's quiet, respectful, a literal blessing given in bare, hot, wet flesh. Politics swirl. You hear mention of another grain subsidy. Someone, perhaps a freedman, murmurs, Cato's nephew fights again in the Senate. Others nod. Some behind robes twitch eyebrows. Another says under breath, he will lose because of yesterday's speech. You see a voice rise in agreement. Silent nod. Negotiations happen here, over water and warmth. One evening, a sculptor shows his clay model to a patron. He wants to commission statue for temple. They analyze lines, hands together. Then they laugh softly at local gossip. Temple's architect got drunk and etched his name on stone. Another piece of news. You watch as deals are struck. Friendships formed. You feel tension and curiosity, mingled with shared warmth of space. The bathhouse is a crossroads of life. Commerce and confession, scandal and sanctuary. Some exchanges are small. Where did you get that oil? From Africa. You smell of mint. But then positions shift. A mother, drying her child, asks a man about his son. Link in extended friendship. He smiles, tilts head. He grows well. Sometimes a gift of water is offered. Sometimes a small bowl of olives. In the natatio, young men play catch with a ball of leather tied with knots. They shout in approved voices. Older men look on and laugh. Someone bets on who will drop next. The laughter is loud, warm, innocent, for a heartbeat. Brothers meet after a long absence. They embrace in dry corner. No ceremony, but flesh memory. They speak our all things. A sister, neighbors, an estate, a silhouette reunion, a freed slave meets former master. They embrace and speak of New Year's farming journey. Tension has melted in these rooms. They sit on bench together, drink water together, shared humanity. Word travels, even to soldiers returning from the frontier. They come to hear news of campaign or corn shortage. They lean across benches, asking everyone who'll listen. They listen too, batting heavy eyelashes awake. The crowd respects their presence. Trade secrets, alliances, plans of conquests, all pass in shadows over water cups. A theater of unofficial authority plays out too. The man with the big bowl of oil acts as gatherer of donations. He decides who sits in shade first, in sun last. He moves like a mayor. Though no title is given, his word carries weight. He controls comfort. His agenda is accepted. An argument starts. She saw him with his rival, but it's tamped down. Best to remain polite. Life here is too communal to escalate. There are unspoken rules, more powerful than guards. You sense them in glances. Reward and restraint, both disguised in politeness. This is Roman society in microcosm, power and humility, wealth and want, beauty and intrigue. danger and laughter, flesh, politics, ambition flowing over marble. A few people stand at edge, making decisions of hearts as well as commerce. Do you remember the festival next week? I might attend. Perhaps we'll meet there again. Hand touches arm, breath hushes. A plan is born, timid but sincere. Late in day, an olive oil merchant offers small jars as gifts to traders. Exchange of trade is made. Deal struck quietly by pools. Reward sealed with a bow. Soft laughter surrounds. Children dash by. Ring around father's legs. Flood of warmth, public and innocent. The bathhouse is alive, and yet each person owns his moment. A moment of closeness in stone and water, a moment of bargaining and bonding, a moment of beauty and birth of plans. In pools and lounges and halls, Roman society ripples. It's alive. It's messy. It's human. Step beyond the grandeur of the public baths and imagine stepping into a quieter, more intimate world within Roman homes, families with means, senators, merchants. Some chose not to share warmth with strangers. They built private bathhouses in their villas. These spaces matched the grandeur of public thermae, but their scale was smaller, personal, tailored. You enter the courtyard of one such villa. A gentle breeze plays across tiled flooring, carries the scent of citrus trees planted at the edges. The baths, tucked behind folding doors, are hidden from casual view. But here, steam and light from lanterns promise something extraordinary. Inside, you discover a complete bath suite built into the home, with its own caldarium and tepidarium, fed by private furnaces. The floors are marble, laid in intricate patterns, floral medallions, swirling vines, marine scenes. There's a private plunge pool, small but deep, set against one wall. You sense exclusivity. This is a bath for a family or a favored few. Walls are frescoed from floor to ceiling. You walk slowly, taking in the murals. In one, a Bacchic procession. Satyrs and nymphs dance among grapes. Near the ceiling, cherubs hold jugs, dripping water into a decorative fountain. The painted water seems to shimmer in candlelight. Light, flickering oil lamps reflect in the pool. The room glows with a soft, golden warmth. Another fresco shows marine gods in conversation, surrounded by octopus and conch shells. It seems as if a single drop from the ceiling could join the painting. You sense an almost sacred quality, the room prepared like a shrine to water and comfort. In the corner sits a pedestal with unguentaria, private oil jars with elaborate shapes, some with handles sculpted like vines, others etched in glass with purple dyes. A family's initials are carved at the base. The oils within come from Baetica and Gaul, perfumed with lavender and rose. This is no humble olive oil, but luxury meant to pamper. Fountains bubble at the edge of the pool. You hear water spurt gently from a bronze spout, molded like a dolphin's mouth. Water collects in smooth marble basins before cascading into the pool. This is no functional channel. This is theater of water. Ahead, a domed niche houses a small statue of Hygeia, perhaps the family's private shrine to health. A bowl of petals rests in front. probably refreshed daily. You sense devotion, intention, not just bathing, but ritual. Ritual cultivated in plush domestic comfort. The temperature here is exact, hotter than outside air, but gentler than public spaces. Water steams, but not overbearingly. Walls feel warm without burning. It's tempting to lean, to close your eyes, to feel private steam on a side table. Scrolls rest alongside a pipe and small clay bowls. You realize they bathe and read. Philosophers and hosts recite philosophy amid steam. A father reads poetry beside mother, both unclothed beneath towels. It's ordinary intimacy, unhurried and quiet. You sense the family's life through these tools. A bronze bowl, engraved Maria, a carved strigil, smoother than public ones. They are cared for, used but adored. In a corner, heavy robes still gleam, perhaps embroidered. Silk. The luxury is woven into every fold. Carefully placed seating surrounds the pool. Cushioned benches upholstered with dyed linen. Perhaps company might join, visited only by close friends. No crowds here, no labels, or language of public persona. This is private freedom. In another alcove, an oil lamp holder is shaped like a draped figure. Light falls across mosaic that shows children playing. There is warmth in that image. A mother would sit and watch her children splash among painted fishes. You dip your hand into still warm water. You taste rose and musk lightly. You lift your palm and look at droplets on your skin. They feel different from public baths. Cleaner, purer, perfumed. Through a narrow doorway, you glimpse smaller rooms, broken by partitions of expensive marble. One is an apoditerium, a personal changing room, a towel rack with metal rings below hooks for clothing. A marble stool stands ready. You imagine stepping in here, undressing gently, needy for only yourself. Another door leads to a small frigidarium, a private plunge, a basin with marble steps. The water gathers in an enclosed pool. A gentleman might lead a lover into that pool, alone. No clamor, no demand, just ease, water, trust. You wander on, a small square pool with low sides, then a circular plunge adjacent. Each space carefully thought out, utility served with aesthetic and intention. The private baths are not utilitarian. They are luxurious statements. Consider the villa's owner, perhaps a former consul or wealthy merchant. Here, no patrons jostle. He chooses which waters to use. He selects which oils. Bathing is as much art as hygiene. There's even a small gym, just a mat area, to warm muscles before stepping in. You trace your finger along marks on the floor from foot traffic. Good stone, well used, yet gentle. Sunlight filters at one end of the room through a small eye removed in the ceiling, like Roman domes. It hits the fresco, casting light across bright pigments, blues and ochres and gold. You find yourself mesmerized. Its quiet grace. But then Pompeii happened. Ash rained. Dust settled. The villa sealed. The family vanished. Silence reigned again for centuries. When excavation began, layers of ash preserved these private chambers in miraculous clarity. Walls still fresh-toned, fountains intact. You feel unspoken invitation. Glimpse a private moment lost to time. Archaeologists found marble benches, oil jars intact. even hairpins left in niches, a small bronze strigil discovered next to the soak pool, a cloth, carbonized but recognizably towel-like. Here was a private bath, suddenly public to time. Near the pool, they discovered a small rounded seat, clearly designed for someone to lean, its backrest shaped for comfort over time. It spoke of gossip, shared wine sipped from clay cups, whispered conversation, life moving through quiet intimacy. In the frescoed alcove, they found petal remains in the bowl. Perhaps the family sprinkled flowers, lavender, rose, myrtle, for scent, decoration. You sense their noses, breathing in ritual and calm. You breathe a bloom. In the hallway outside, footprints in mosaic surround clay shards, remnants of private life. The broken amphora scattered among cushions. Pompeii froze a moment. A family wandered off, leaving behind partially filled jars of oil, uneaten figs on a platter, and unfinished conversation. The excavation team restored gentle light within chambers. They left lamps lit, but flickering. They replaced missing marble, slabs. They guided modern lovers of Rome to stand exactly where ancient hosts stood, adored, prepared, vulnerable. Now, when we visit, we walk through a moment preserved, private comfort turned public marvel. The villa bathhouses, storytellers, it whispers of indulgence and intimacy, but also of intention. You step close to the niche pool again. You place a fingertip on marble, cool but warmed by time. You feel faint pulse there, ancient but persistent. Water, once poured through bronze spouts, still carved as dolphins. Now, they stand silent, frozen in stone, but they ceremony carried. You hear steps of archaeologists miles away, cataloging shards in a modern lab. But here, only latent echo remains, of laughter, of conversation, of oil gliding across flesh. The best private baths. Their lives blend into water. Parents and children, lovers and listeners, friends and confidants. Nothing public but intimacy. Nothing crowded but familiar. They bathed in streams of household luxury. This private domus bath becomes a microcosm, a private world parallel to public. It's a sanctuary. It's a stage. It's a haven. Sometimes even an escape. Walk further into the suite. Another pool. Cooler, meant for transition. It has edging for sitting. Its steps lead carefully upward from warm stones, perhaps used for quiet farewell after a long soak, to gather modest poise before venturing back into the day. Another corridor leads to dry rooms lined with perfumes, clay vials holding cinnamon, thyme, pine. You trace names: Thuri, Myrrha, perfumes reserved for family alone. You take a soft breath, taste cinnamon spice, pine needles. You imagine wearing them outside. There's also a hair washing station, a stone basin with warm water, and a bronze strainer. The family washed beneath thin curtains, oil-lathered hair dripping. A servant brushed their hair afterward with painstaking care. The private bath even includes a small library niche, shelves carved into wall, holding scrolls about philosophy, poetry, hygiene. Someone reclined after bathing, reading Vitruvius on architecture, Epictetus on life. Now those scrolls are gone, decayed, but the space remains. Perhaps the children learned letters after bath, combining calm body with curious mind. Perhaps a scholar taught philosophy by pool's edge, and perhaps the family held poetry nights there, candlelight flickering across statues and water. The villa's private bath redefines domesticity. Bathing is private, yes, but also community, even in solitude. Children and parents, lovers and poets, servants and masters. The intimacy of presence outweighs grandeur of court. Pompeii's discovery grants us a snapshot, not of empire's power, but of personal lives, Argomedan luxury and ritual, of family silently branded themselves, not for wealth, but for cultivation of the body, mind, and pleasure. Bathing was not need. It was declaration. You step back out of the suite. Courtyard air carries citrus again. Marble feels cooler. The echo of water pulls away, but the tapestry remains. Tile, fresco, bronze, marble, all aligned in purpose. To cleanse, to soothe, to impress quietly. Walk toward the portal once more. Behind you lie private rituals, baths not offered, privileges not shared, a whispered life of cleansing as art. And now, as the steam begins to settle and the echoes of ancient footsteps grow faint, we return, slowly, gently, to the present. The Roman bathhouse was never just about cleansing the body. It was about life, about connection, about ritual, the soft splash of water, the warmth of sunlit marble, the low murmur of conversation between strangers and friends. These were the sounds of a society that understood how deeply the body and mind needed rest. And though the empire has long since fallen, the spirit of those spaces lives on. Modern spas, hammams, saunas, even your quiet evening bath, all trace their roots to Rome's ancient stones, their rhythms, their warmth, their intention, places where time softens, where the world waits, where care becomes ceremony. Across centuries and continents, the dream of the Roman bathhouse still lingers. In the hiss of steam, in the glint of candlelight on tile, in the silence that wraps you like a soft towel after warmth. We may never stand in a tepidarium carved by hand 2,000 years ago. But tonight, perhaps you feel a little closer, and as this journey fades, like steam curling into the night, we hope it stays with you, like a quiet dream, just before sleep. Thank you for walking with us through time. If you enjoyed this story, if it helped you drift or learn or imagine, please give this video a like. It helps more than you know. And if you'd like more journeys into the quiet corners of forgotten worlds, subscribe to our channel. Restless Historian will be here, waiting, with more stories from long ago. Good night and goodbye for now.